Hey guys, my name is Anthony and in today's video I'm going to be talking about 5 sim racing tips that I've learned recently that's helped me improve my game in F1 2019. Now before I get into those tips, I do understand that F1 2019 is considered a simcade, so it's not necessarily a simulation, but it's too much like a simulation to be considered an arcade like Need for Speed for example. But if you apply these sim racing tips that I've learned to any game, any sort of simulation game, whether it's iRacing, Assetto Corsa or Gran Turismo, which is another game considered to be a simcade, then you can improve your game and improve just your driving abilities in general. Maybe if you're super experienced, you know, I can understand that when you're experiencing something, you can easily forget about the fundamentals and the basics, and for those who are new, you know, these are tips that you're going to want to hear, especially if you're playing the more simulation heavy games. So getting into it, the first tip is to look about 1 second in front of yourself. I can't remember the video that I saw this tip in, but if I do, all the videos that I found these tips in, if I can remember them, they will be in the description below so that you can go through all of them and watch them. But basically what the guy was saying is that when you're driving, if you're looking too close to the car, you're going to end up reacting to things, and when you're reacting to things, it's not going to be as consistent. And I found myself doing that because I came from an arcade racing background. I came from Need for Speed, I came from Burnout and all of those type of games, and with those type of games it doesn't really matter where you're looking on the screen, as long as you're generally looking in front of you. You know, you'll be able to do pretty well. But with simulation type games, you're gonna want to be looking at least a second ahead of yourself, just so that you can actually anticipate your braking points, so that you can anticipate the apex, so that so you can roughly know the right time to turn into an apex and stuff like that. And with you looking right in front of the car, you end up reacting to things, and when you're reacting to those things, especially at the speeds that you're going at in an F1 car, then you're not going to be consistent around each corner. And I found that ever since I started looking further out in front of myself, my laps have been a lot more consistent. They're still not quite there to the point where, you know, I can hop on and you know, complete 50 laps without making a horrible mistake, and I'm sure even the best guys couldn't really do that. But you know, my consistency is improving every single day as I'm trying to get better at the game, and especially since I started looking further out ahead of myself. And the next tip is actually more for cockpit drivers, but you know, I'm pretty sure that everybody can, you know, gain something from this tip, and it's basically to change your field of view if possible in the game. Now I know with some of the more simcade games, some of them don't allow you to change the field of view when you're in certain camera angles. So for example, if you're in the cockpit view, you can't change the field of view. I know that in F1 2019 you actually can, and from a video that I've watched, I think it was either today or yesterday, apparently that's still a new feature that only came out in F1 2017. But yeah, changing your field of view can help tremendously, because when you're in the cockpit, or just in general when you're looking through the front of the car, you want to be able to see exactly what you would see in real life, because your brain will perceive, if you have the field of view in a different way, your brain will perceive the outside world basically in a different way, and you may not get the turn into an apex that you were looking for, because your field of view is different compared to what it would be in real life. Maybe you would be able to brake and turn just slightly later if you had the correct field of view than you would if you just had the regular field of view that it gave you. So definitely change that. I don't always use the cockpit view, but when I do, I have changed it so that it looks a little bit more realistic, and I definitely do see an improvement compared to the default field of view that you get from F1 2019. The next tip is for people who use the wheel. I'm sure that, you know, there's some things you can do with the pad that will help you improve the pad, but this one is specifically for people who use the wheel, and it's to not turn your force feedback settings too high. This is something that, you know, I realized pretty quickly when I got my wheel. I've only been playing F1 2019. Well, I've only been playing F1 games actually for about 4 or 5 months, and I've only been using the wheel for about a month now. So as soon as I got the wheel, one of the first things that I wanted to do was just turn the force feedback as high as possible and just, you know, be able to get all of those, all of that information that I wasn't able to get with the pad. And I quickly realized that that's not the way to go, because there is a point where you have too much force feedback, and when you do have too much force feedback, you end up sort of forgetting about those fundamental things, those fundamental pieces of information that really helps in terms of, you know, driving with a wheel, and what makes the wheel actually a lot better to use than the pad. So you don't want to turn your force feedback settings too high. I've actually just uploaded a video yesterday, so I'm recording this on a Friday, so yesterday would have been Thursday. I've got a video, it will be in the top right hand corner of the screen if you want to go and see it. It's my personal force feedback settings and camera settings for F1 2019, so if you want to use that as a baseline for yourself, then you can just click that video and go and watch it. So the next one, the fourth tip, is to watch drivers who are better than you. The bigger the skill gap between you and the other driver, the better, because the better that they are compared to you, the more that you can learn from them. Sure, you can watch drivers who are roughly around your skill level, because obviously they can give you some tips that maybe you didn't think of before, but definitely start watching videos or start watching demos, because I'm pretty sure on games like iRacing and Assetto Corsa, you can watch demos of people. I'm not too sure, I've never played those games before, so if you do play those games, just let me know in the comments if that's something you can do. But just watch other people's demos and just see what they're doing that you're not. You know, I watch TLR Limitless a lot of the times, who does league racing videos, and you know, he's considered to be up there with one of the best drivers on Xbox. And just by watching his videos and seeing what he's doing compared to what I'm doing, it's making me a better driver every time I go on and I try something new. You know, whether it's I tried to brake a little bit later than I usually do, whether it's, you know, maybe I sort of try and take some of the best things that I think from his driving style and apply it to my own driving style, because you don't want to copy the person who's better than you, but you want to just take things that they're doing, try it out for yourself and see if it makes you a better driver. So that's what I've been doing, and I've seen some pretty decent results. I think I was doing a hot lap on Australia, and I managed to get a time that it's a really fast time for my personal skill level. It's actually going to be in this video. I'm not sure at roughly what time that I'm going to put it in the video, but you'll see the lap, and I think it was a 20.7 around Australia, which is a really fast time for me. It might not be a fast time compared to the rest of the world, but for me, for my skill level, it was a really quick time. And because of some of these tips, because of some of these fundamental tips, I was able to get that sort of time. And the last tip, it's the cliche one really, and it's just to be patient and practice. I'm a type of person, I can get really impatient. I'm probably one of the most impatient people that I know. So I totally am relatable in that regards when it comes to practicing for hours and hours and not seeing that result. But even me, you know, I have to step back sometimes and be like, you know, you have to be patient, you have to practice, and you have to put in hours if you want to actually improve at what you're doing. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, you know how the saying goes. So, you know, you're not going to get to those sort of levels if you're just, you know, you're driving once every other day, or, you know, you're just not putting in that time. You know, because all of these top guys, they were in our position at one point when they didn't know how to do all of the things that they're able to do now. So, you know, they did that just by practicing, by watching other people, and, you know, everybody gets inspired by somebody. So definitely, you know, take these 5 tips that I've just laid out, and I guarantee you will see at least some degree of improvement, especially if you're newer to whatever it is that you're playing. So if you enjoyed these 5 tips, I know that, you know, a lot of these other guys have talked about it before, but I just wanted to get my point of view across from, you know, a newbie's point of view, because I'm still new when it comes to F1 2019, and I'm still new when it comes to sim racing. There's a lot I don't know, and there's a lot that I'm trying to learn, and these fundamental 5 tips were all something that I just, well, except for the 5th one obviously, that I never really took into account when I first started playing the game, and since I've actually taken them into account, it's improved my own skill tremendously. So you'll actually be surprised by how much you will improve just by taking these things into account. So if you like the video, hit the like button and subscribe and hit the notification bell, I post F1 content, F1 2019 content, so if that's what you're looking for, that's what I've got. You can also follow me on all my socials where I'll be updating you about the channel. So, you know, I post on Twitter whether or not I can make a video or what type of videos I'm looking to make. I'll even ask you guys for, you know, video ideas so that, you know, I can create what you guys want. So, yeah, that's about it. So, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.